Hello guys and welcome back to What If Deku Had a Time Release Genkai, the third part called Full Potential. And I hope you guys will enjoy this third part as well. Again, don't know if you enjoyed the last ones. This is all in ahead of time, but I'm hoping this series is going to be freaking awesome. And we're gonna get into some real fun things in this part. So hold on to your seatbelts. I don't know why I told you to do that, but I don't know. Get excited, that's what I'm saying. And don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell just to update on all my future videos. And without any further ado, let's get into the recap. First off, let's begin with Shigaraki and Kurogiri reporting to All for One, and then we went back to UA where everyone was told about the festival. The students take 2 weeks to train and come back as they would fight at the stadium, and the students are called out after Todoroki still calls out Deku, but as Deku is told to come make a speech, he antagonizes everyone to make them come at him more. It also works to motivate everyone else, and during the obstacle race he outspeeds Bakugo and Todoroki, even attacking them at one point to get ahead, but he only did so after Bakugo came at him first. He takes first place, and during the cavalry, he gets his headband taken but quickly gets it back from Monoma, who goes crazy after trying to copy his quirk. Then came the one-on-ones, and while Deku fights the same, he always he doesn't fight the same. He fights in a more hungry for like power type of way. He just like destroys you. He's ruthless about it. But when it came time to fight Todoroki, though he ruthlessly beats him down, he inspires him, but does so unintentionally. He would then also unveil an amazing ability he had learned and wins with it. He and Bakugo then fight, and he would show another amazing ability and throw Bakugo out of the ring, and he would explain the ability, and after doing that he passes out due to overusing his power. When he wakes up, he's surrounded by Class 1A before then getting his own little ceremony since he missed the real one. Even Bakugo and Todoroki were there, and it was just a little sweet little moment. And then came the picking of the names at UA a few days later, and nominations, all that, and Deku barely actually notices Ida's change, though he would have in the original, because he's a little bit more self-centered. He then headed out of school when he was met by All Might, who recommended a former hero named Jiraiya. Jiraiya teaches him to flow out his energy and teaches him how to do it correctly, and this allows him to turn both his eyes into Jogan. Later on though, he also releases a cloak form and fights Gamabunta using another new move, and he will then be taken to Hosu. The two walk in the city eating skewers when Deku then asks, "How are you allowed to do hero work if you're a former?" "I'm just that amazing kid," he said. Deku would then denounce this, saying that most people would just think of him as a kooky old man, to which he laughs with them ruffling his hair, to which Deku hates, as he would then tell him to stop because he's eating. Jiraiya keeps doing so, however, as he felt proud to witness the growth of his kid, his little student. He's gonna be a monster someday, he thought. Monsters! Monsters attacking! As this is yelled, instantly Jiraiya dashes past Deku, surprising him with the speed as he tells him to hurry up, and Deku throws away the food as he speeds up with chakra, and up ahead an explosion occurs. When they reach the source of the explosion, they find the part of the city burnt as it would be filled with nomus and no heroes had arrived yet. Jiraiya sees this and is about to protect some civilian from being hurt, but Deku enters his cloak form and blows off the head of all the creatures before then coming to land in the middle of the road. "Well, move it, you wanna die?" he yells. The relief people will then get up and thank Deku as some recognize them, and especially his brash personality. Jiraiya will then clasp his hands together as marks will start to cover his face, and he truly uses his quirk as he expels water from his mouth and sprays it to the skies. It rains down and puts out the fires, with Deku then asking how the hell he does that, and Jiraiya would say he'll tell him later. Heroes would arrive asking what was going on, and they, from an alley, then saw more Nomu just crawl out. "Wait, but aren't you the sage?" The heroes start to recognize Jiraiya, who would say that they can get an autograph later, but right now they need to do their job. "There are about more of them down over that building. Think you can handle it?" asked Jiraiya as he looked at Deku, who then leapt into the air saying he should worry about himself, and screaming, Jiraiya then releases a wave of water from his mouth again as it would come to envelop some of the Nomu before then crushing them, and other heroes start to help out, but one asks if it's really the best choice to let the kid go alone. "If I know that brat, he'll be fine." Deku meanwhile begins to free fall onto a new street with a wide grin as he holds his hands out and he concentrates as he fires two beams that would hit and blow apart the heads of the flying Nomu and one buff one. From above, worried citizens then see him and he would crash to the ground, and he looked like a burning flame, like a hero, a fire hero due to the cloak's nature, but they were wrong about it. Deku would then gather them to one side as he told them to go, and he fired beam after beam to give them cover. "Thank you so much." Yeah, you can thank me by getting out of my way," he said, as he then lunged forward and appeared grabbing a buff Nomu before then punching it so hard that it would rip right down in the middle, like half. The citizens now were wondering if they're, who were the real ones in trouble, and Deku then lands as he would then take out a bead. "I made some improvements, they don't just hit hard." He would then heave one on attacking Nomu, and it would freeze in the air, allowing Deku to then leap and kick it as he would destroy it. "Now they stopped time too," he said. He would then go on a rampage and destroy all of them, just as some heroes run in and find the street bloody, and a smiling Deku then looks at them, making one of them yell, "Shut up, I'm on your side. Sorry, it was just so sudden." But the side Deku then says whatever, as he'd be starting to feel himself. He was at the peak right now. He felt better than ever, but he wondered where Jiraiya went when he then saw the hero manual. Ida was here with him, he thought. And as these words came into his mind, he emptied up his body and just started to run down the street, leaping into the air as he looked around, and he heard a certain noise. The sound of bones cracking. He comes to land on a rooftop and quickly runs before then flinging down into an alley, and he crashes to look and see Jiraiya holding Stain, and behind him will be Ida and Native, unable to move on the ground. "Oh, you came," said Jiraiya. Running past Jiraiya, he then goes to Ida and asks what the hell he's doing here. "Huh? What?" Ida would then avert his gaze, conflicting Deku, who then looks back to tell Jiraiya to, thank you for helping his friend. "No problem, kid. The effects of his quirk should be wearing off just about now," said Jiraiya, as Native then regains feeling in his body and he would stand, and Deku then helps up Ida as he still stayed quiet. "I'm a idiot," thought Deku. As night passed, news of Jiraiya beating the killer spread, and it got him back on the media, which he hated, but he was a very powerful hero at some point, so it's not that surprising. Ida, meanwhile, was hospitalized after his feet had been found to be horribly messed up. Luckily, he could still walk in a few days and with some, rest. As he sits in his hospital bed, in then walks Deku. "Mydoria, good morning." Deku's playful personality was gone, however, as he apologized. "I can't believe I called you my friend after I ignored the signs. I'm so stupid. I'm sorry about your brother." Ida looks to the window, saying it was okay. "In hindsight, everything got solved, didn't it?" "But you're still not okay," said Deku, as he then took a seat beside him and said that while he doesn't deserve to act all nice now, when he then noticed his brother would not want him to do this, and he wanted to tell Ida this because he liked having him as a friend. And part of being a hero is dealing with the punches. When you give in and you lose, I don't know how to react. I don't have loser friends, said Deku. Ida would then start to quiver and shake until tears flew out, and he said that he knew it wouldn't solve anything. But how can someone do that? Just take away my brother's legs and still stay alive? Because things suck, but that's what you and me are here for, right? Heroes. Ida would slightly nod as Deku would then ask again what they are. Heroes. We're heroes. That's right, said Deku, as he would then bring Ida in for a hug and let him release his frustration, while Deku started to realize he had been so absorbed in himself that the ideals of a hero were just leaving his mind. It's just like... He then thought of Bakugo as a kid and shook his head, saying he'd never become like that. And then cut to a few hours later. Deku sat across from Jiraiya, eating, when he then asked, Am I selfish? I say you're pretty self-absorbed. Yes, said Jiraiya. I said selfish. Well, you're both. For you it works though. Pure thoughts and motivations aren't always the only way someone can grow. Yeah, duh, you gotta focus on yourself, but is that all you can do? Jiraiya sees Deku is frustrated, to say the least, and he has never seen him like this before, but he smiles. Do you know what the difference between you and Endeavor is? I'm 15 and he's an old man. Jeez, you're stupid. What drives you both is your ego, but he let it overtake him. I knew him when he was younger. A bundle of insecurities, yet somehow you seem different even though you should be the same, so what's the difference? Taking a moment, Deku then says it must be because he lets people in, and Jiraiya says that's correct. Now stop being so down, it's bizarre as hell. Yeah. Thanks. Jiraiya says no problem, and they continue their meal. Once a whole week is up, Deku would then soon leave the man, but to say the man left an impact on him was an understatement. He had gained a much calmer attitude. He and one neighbor convene in class like usual, and they have all changed in some ways, as Ida tells everyone about his brother, so they can best know how to console him, but he is definitely getting better, though he's not completely fine yet. After that, they are then taken for rescue training at Ground Gamma, as Deku, Mina, Sero, Ida, and Ojiro would have to face each other, and everyone watched the monitors as they began to place bets, just as All Might then says to begin, and instantly Deku blasts past everyone until he lands on a pipe and starts to just move even faster after jumping off. Something's different about that guy, said Bakugo. Yes, that energy, it's more calm, said Todoroki. Almost instantly, Deku lands beside All Might as he would then turn to see everyone still coming, and he feels a stare and turns to see All Might. What? Sorry, I thought you'd be posing or singing your own praises by now. Yeah, well, I'm strong, I don't need to flaunt it, said Deku. All Might then said alright, and said that he could tell Jiraiya definitely knocked some sense into him, and he says to shut up. He didn't change. He has. And he's denying it a little bit. And as he waits for everyone else to arrive, after they do, everyone gets a turn to race until they head back to the locker rooms and then go back to class. Aizawa then tells them about the Force Law, so they begin to study, and in between, Deku takes Ida and Uraraka to that gym he was talking about. Then the day came, their studies were used in the written exam, but they would find themselves standing before their teachers outside as buses would be lined up behind, and they were clearly confused. I thought we were gonna fight robots again, said Mina. Aizawa then says they had a change of plans just as Principal Nezu then leaps out from his scarf. What were you doing in there? Asked Deku. Nothing much, just waiting, said Nezu as he asks for some help to get down, and after 13 helps, he stands straight and says that he will declare now that teachers will be fighting their students because we want to make sure that the USJ incident doesn't repeat itself, but in case it does, you must be ready. We're on the villain's radar. Those little shits must have lost their minds if they think we can still beat us, said Deku. Well, it is what it is. Even I'll be participating, said Nezu. Todoroki, Yayarozu, you're with me, said Aizawa. Mydoria and Katsuki, you'll be facing him. He points behind and everyone turns to see All Might walk up as they quickly just start to feel bad for the two, but more specifically because they still have a grudge which might intensify the match and make it worse. Other teams would then be made before they are then driven to their sites by their teachers that they be facing, and Bakugo and Deku are dropped off in the city ruins and walk around checking their equipment. So, you wanna do this? Asked Deku. Why the hell are you trying to act like we always work together as a team? Replied Bakugo. I'm not doing it for you, said Deku. And Bakugo said in that case he could just screw off, just as a massive explosion of a shockwave mows down many buildings before then hitting them and almost taking them to the floor. From afar they see All Might show from the smoke while having a smile, and he would give off this pressure that is just freezing. Bakugo gets ready for a fight just as he then feels a touch from behind, and his body will then fill with energy, and as he turns he sees Deku sitting down in his cloaked form. I know, I'm amazing. Now look forward, said Deku. As Bakugo goes to yell at him, All Might then appears right in front of him, and he would actually dodge a punch from him, which surprises himself before he then throws an explosion to his face and blows him to the ground. What the hell did you do? Asked Bakugo. Deku then says he was speeding him up. I know I'd win, so I'm gonna leave it to you. With a grin, Bakugo then attacks again as All Might backs away, but he blitzes him and slams another attack into his stomach. Incredible, I never thought I'd see the day they work together, thought All Might. He would try to catch Bakugo, but he would just keep dodging and attacking, however, and he doesn't even know how to react. But that doesn't mean that All Might is being affected, and he would keep attacking until he's actually caught by the foot and slammed to the ground. I applaud your efforts, but this is your first time using such a power, isn't it, Midoriya? But the click of his tongue, Deku then stands say, my bad. Bakugo then starts to get up asking who the hell he is, because the usual him would never apologize about something like this, before he then pulls the pin on his grenade, and while the enhancement is still on him, he hits All Might point blank, just as he is then grabbed by Deku, who starts to run to the gate. What, you're not gonna complain? Asked Deku. Bakugo doesn't answer though, just as All Might then starts running towards them, but as he appears about to punch, Deku will then flash both his Jogan at him, and this would catch All Might off guard, and he's effectively caught in a mind lock, as he then begins to fall, just as Deku then runs out the gate, with him and Bakugo being considered the winners. He lets down Bakugo and leaves his cloaked state, and Bakugo would say, I haven't been giving up on kicking your ass. When you figure it out, I'll be waiting for you, Deku said as he walked forward, and Bakugo followed with a slight smile. All the students then hear the two passing, but if Deku used that mind lock, then even All Might can escape, so they're not that surprised, but feel more motivated to work harder. Deku and Bakugo would go watch them compete with Recovery Girl, and after All Might was released, he of course drove them back, and yeah, he had to take a while. And then one by one, they all came to watch the others finish, and eventually everyone finished, and unfortunately, not everyone passed. The next day in class, those who didn't pass would be freaking out. Well, Deku said not to worry. I'm like 50% sure this is just another ruse from Sensei. The other 50% means we miss out on the loss, said Kaminari, as he plunges more into sadness, or darkness, maybe both. And Sero tries to reassure him, but Mina, Sato, Kirishima just can't get out of their slump. And during their little episode, Aizawa would actually walk in, and they all take a seat, as he reveals they will actually be going, despite how good or bad they did. Oh, thank God, the four y'all. See, said Sero. Don't get confused. You'll be taking supplementary lessons, said Aizawa. Looking to Sero, Kaminari would then say, so you were saying? Sero would then say not to get mad at him, and besides, they're going anyway, and they do agree it's much better than the alternative. So when school ends for the day, everyone gathers and decides to go shopping for things they need, and the next day they all go to the mall as people will split up into groups. Deku goes with Ida, and Uraraka proceeds to get things like bug spray and etc. However, in this version of events, Shogaki does not show, being fully aware that he would simply get frozen in time after one look from, Deku. He's not that stupid. This day of shopping went quite swell. And as days passed, they would then get on the buses with 1A and 1B heading to the Forest Lodge after preparing everything they needed, everything. And then after a 1-hour drive, 1A's bus comes to a stop while 1B's would just simply pass them. The students exit the vehicle, stretching and yawning, but as they see the other bus pass, they ask why they're not stopping. Mineta meanwhile was just looking for a place to pee. Mineta then points out a car forward and everyone notices it, and from it then walks out Pixie Bob and Mandalay, who introduce themselves while posing. Who's the brat? Asked Deku. None of your business, answered Koda. Instantly, Deku cannot stand him, with Aizawa then saying the group will be working with the hero group in training and just everything. And walking to the rail of the cliff, Manly then points to their home far in the forest. You guys will be living there for the camp. Then why did we stop here? Asked Kaminari. The two heroes only smiled to this, which made them very suspicious, as Sero then suggests they maybe leave, and everyone starts to agree as they start running back. But then Deku would run forward and he would leap past the rail and enter his cloaked state, which is surprising to see, but more importantly, they asked what the hell he was doing. Oh come on, they're not going to give us a choice, at least this way, have more fun. He starts to freefall with Bakugo and Todoroki along with Ida rushing past the rails as well, which surprised Pixie Bob and Mandalay. Meanwhile, Koda thought they were crazy, and just for the hell of it, the entire group then ran forward following the example of the four, and when they came to crash, they would see Deku shooting beams from his hands at these bizarre monsters made of earth. When did you learn that? Asked Kirishima. During the internships. Duh, said Deku. From above, Mandalay would then say to watch out for the beast, which they all agree is something she should have told them much sooner instead of just trying to scare them, but quickly they rush and ran forward and start to beat them up. Deku stays ahead, moving as a blur as he slams a kick into one of the beasts and it blows up to pieces, and he would then land as he then attacks all over, using the trees to jump off of before then running past beasts that had attacked him, and they would blow up to pieces. So this is what he used against All Might, said Todoroki, as he then pierces a beast, but jumping past him, Bakugo then throws an explosion, saying no, he used something else. As Deku lands, he then remembers that it might be a good idea to use what he did on Bakugo, and he applied to everyone. So he runs back and raises his hand with Bakugo high-fiving him, and he starts to burst with light, and surprised, Todoroki would high-five Deku when he reaches him. He would also explode with light, as Deku then soon reaches everyone, but when he reaches Mineta, he said, just go man, we'll cover for you. With tears in his eyes, he would thank Deku before then going to pee, and Deku would then turn as he yells, you guys are in for a surprise. From above, as Pixie Bob focuses on the beast, she becomes wide-eyed as Mandalay and Aizawa then see flashes of light rip through the forest, and Pixie Bob asks what the hell Deku is. They already reached the camp. What? Said Aizawa, as he turns to her surprised, but she is dead serious. Down below, everyone has arrived at the campsite and lose light and, all that power, with Deku then losing his cloak form. My bad, you might feel a bit uncomfortable. I've never done this before. That was awesome, says Kirishima. They all agree, saying they felt so powerful that it was insane, but then Uraraka asked where Mineta was, and with a look of embarrassment, Deku would run back in with his cloak form to get him because he was still peeing. We then fade to black as night would fall, and we find 1A eating their meal, with the three heroes watching, still processing what Deku had done. I knew he was going to be amazing, but that much of a wide effect? Said Mandalay. He's a supporter and a combatant, Pixie Bob says. Aizawa says that he got a report from Jiraiya that he wasn't, he was gonna be amazing, but he wasn't expecting this much growth, and the two are left starstruck that he took another student in, but Aizawa confirms it, saying that Deku definitely benefited a lot from him. After eating, everyone went to the onsen where Deku saves Koda and brings him to Mandalay, and before then learning a bit about him. Then the next day, 1B found 1A torturing themselves to get stronger. Deku in this timeline was put to the test by having him shoot those beams he can release into the sky, and with a scream he would do so for the 5th time, and it would part the clouds as a shockwave is felt down by everyone who almost fall over. I think that was his strongest by far, says Sato. Meanwhile, 1B was just flabbergasted, as Monoma would say, I'm never copying his quirk again. It's a good idea, says Black King. In this case, if you copy his quirk, you don't copy the experience and training that he's gotten so far to get it. Monoma then realizes why the copy didn't work, because they needed a lot of skill in a way. So Deku is a blank and what he would now call a break, because if you use him, you will literally break. After a while of tough training, they let 1B take over, and while they take showers and start eating, they would also cook their own meals this time. But as they ate, Deku notices Koda walk off, so he would grab a bento full of food and follow him, as he finds that he'll be sitting near a cliff of the mountain, looking up into the sky. Hey kid. Koda would then turn with urgency, asking what the hell he was doing here, and Deku was about to explode with a snapback, but he calms down and walks over as he puts the bento down. It's for you. Eat it. Go away, I never asked you to do this. This is my spot, got it? A vein would then pop on his forehead at this point, as he would try to hide it with a smile, saying, look, I'm trying to be less selfish, kid, so take the goddamn food. With a scowl, Koda, however, throws it off the mountain, only for Deku to then move fast and catch it, asking what the hell Koda's problem is. Go away. You came here to act like the type of person that you're not. You don't care about me, you only care about yourself. These words will strike a chord in Deku because he can't necessarily deny them, so with a sigh, he puts down the bento and says, fine, don't come crying back when you get hungry. He starts to leave as Koda will then turn more angry than before, and Deku will reflect on his motivation a little bit. The third day of training came as 1A and 1B push themselves even more again to their absolute limits before 1A then gets ready for dinner. But as Deku was putting in dry wood for the fire, Todoroki came over to light it, so he asked, am I a good friend? That came out of nowhere. Just answer the question, said Deku. Todoroki would chuckle, saying, "Yes, you are. You could show it in a better way, but it's hard for someone to change that easily. The fact that you seem to be taking effort at all already shows how much you care. Just show it better through your actions as well." Deku would thank Todoroki. He says, "There's no problem. It's the least I could do, since we're friends." That day, Deku does not go to Koda, even though he sees him go off, because he would make things worse, and he acknowledges that. And another day passed, and on the fourth day, after training, while others would be taking lessons, others would be paired up for the test of courage. Deku, Ida, Mineta, and Koda stay to wait for their turn, but Deku is the only one who's like the extra left out, which pisses him off. But it is what it is, so they wait while Mina, Sato, Kirishima, and Kaminari are dragged away. Very soon, however, the smell of smoke starts to come their way, just as Deku then says the force is on fire, and everyone takes notice of this, just as a portal will then form below the boy, and they all become wide-eyed, but giving him a hand, Ida will then grab and pull him out, just as they all back away. "Thanks," said Deku, as he entered his cloaked form, and the portal will then warp away, pissing him off. "What was that about?" asked Deku. Tiger says it's as if they were targeting him specifically, and this thought worried his classmates, but then it came to Deku's mind that he hasn't seen Koda around, and he tells Mandalay where he might be. But before anything else can be said, he just runs into the forest. "I know where he is, don't worry." He would then speed himself up and trail through the entire forest until he reaches the mountain, and he leaps while speeding his time up as he instantaneously arrives at the top. There he sees Koda quivering with a lot of fear and is in the presence of a hooded man who just notices him just as Deku then lands and appears right in front of Koda. "You dumbass, why did you keep coming here?" said Deku, as he then looked back to Koda to see that he was too scared to even make a comeback, so he knows this isn't the time. He faces Muscular, who takes off his hood. "Or that kid we're supposed to be getting." "What?" asked Deku. He now understood why the portal came from him, just as Koda then says that he recognizes that guy as the one who went after his parents, and when Koda says that he killed them, something snaps in Deku, while Muscular begins to laugh. "Oh, they were yours, I'm sorry, I don't even remember, I've done it so many times." He is then interrupted by a punch to the stomach as he spews blood right as Deku grabs him by the hair and pulls him down before kneeing him in the face. "How dare you laugh at someone's death, you shit." Koda is surprised at how mad Deku is on his behalf, but Muscular enjoys the pain and explodes with muscle fibers as he throws a punch, but Deku would catch it before activating his rewind, and this would reverse Muscular's activation before Deku then slams another punch into his stomach, and the sheer force of this would blow him off the mountain, and he would crash into another mountain far off. Koda was left in awe as Deku then grabbed him and leapt off the mountain, but he slowed them down, so they started to float as they descended. You saved me." "Yeah, what the hell kind of guy do you think I am? I'm not just gonna let you die." "You're right, I'm selfish. Some may even say egotistical, but I'm a hero first and foremost." Wiping his tears, Koda doesn't really know how to react. He always thought heroes were a bit weird. Some act gallant and nice just for attention, while some jump into the line of fire without even thinking. He thought they were crazy. It sounds crazy. But Deku did not hide his flaws and still saved him. In that moment, he became Koda's hero without even realizing it. When he lands, he then blasts off and heads to where he was, back at the place with the teachers, but a flying Nomo attacks, and so from above he would hit it with a beam that blows his brains out, and he continued to run, wondering why they would do all this just to come for him. "I mean, I know I'm awesome, but still," he thought. He would then arrive back at the site to see Magne and Spinner fighting Tiger and Mandalay, while Pixie Bob laid on the ground out cold with blood flowing out from her head. When the heroes and villains see him, they freeze, and in that instant, Magne and Spinner are sent flying with Deku appearing in front of them. "Where are the others?" "They're headed toward Eraserhead," said Mandalay. She then sees Koda and she will hold her arms out while he runs and hugs her, with her and Tiger being happy that he's okay. Deku meanwhile goes to Pixie as he feels pissed that this happened on his watch, so he gets an idea. Holding his hands over her head, he causes a glow as it will slightly blind the three, and when the light fades, they see Pixie Bob twitch right before getting up, and she wouldn't even have a bruise. "Yes, it works," said Deku. "You healed her?" asked Tiger. Deku helps up Pixie, saying that he rewinded her time and injuries, so it's not healing. It's like the injuries never happened, and this is just yet another ability that amazes them, as a drowsy Pixie Bob then thanks Deku, and quickly he hands her to Tiger, saying that villains are after him for some reason. "What? Then we need to keep you safe," said Mandalay. "Hell no, my classmates are being attacked by villains. I ain't just gonna let that happen." He then speeds off as Tiger says, "Seriously, he's too impulsive." "He's young, he'll get over it, but we need to drop you two off at the camp before we go help." Deku meanwhile, Melee, I said this by the way. Deku meanwhile runs into the forest when in the corner of his eye, he then saw the hand of someone reach out from a portal, and moving fast, he appears atop the portal and would touch it as it rewinds it, causing the portal to then spew out the hero, Ragdoll. Her too, he thought, as he then caught her and thought, he was annoyed at the thought that they would even try to capture her for some reason. And he would carry her while, continuing forward, and he was relieved that he actually saw it in time, and yeah, he got back to running. He was looking for anyone to help, when he then sees a Dark Shadow's claw, a giant claw, come for him, and he would then catch the claw as his feet would dig into the ground before he then shout a rewind, and the claw becomes covered in vector circuits as it would then rewind in time, and we then see Tokoyami return back to normal while a hurt Shoji would then stand after being blown away back by him while he was trying to help. "Midoriya, thank you," said Tokoyami. "I thought you were training to stop that," said Deku. Tokoyami would then apologize as Deku sighs, saying that's not important right now. "Are you sure you're good?" Shoji says that he only went a little crazy after some guy with blades for teeth tried to hurt him, but Tokoyami then asks what happened to Ragdoll. After he explains what happened, they then run to the nearest place with sound, just like bombastic sound, and they stumbled upon Todoroki and Bakugo being attacked by moonfish. Todoroki erected a wall of ice to stop the blades while he protected a student he had randomly found, and Bakugo throws a massive explosion, but using the blades as his feet, the villain would then two-step and direct everything to stab Bakugo. In that instant, though, Shoji would then appear in front of Bakugo as he would just punch away the blades while enhanced by Deku. "Do not get ahead of yourself," said the student, as he would then extend multiple of his fists at the speed of sound and slam so many punches into the villain that he couldn't react fast enough. "Octo blow," said Shoji. Todoroki then stood thanking him as Deku and Tokoyami then ran in asking if they were okay. "Of course I am, you idiot." "Why is she here?" said Bakugo. "Talk later, His feet then began to sink into a portal again, with everyone noticing, but once more he rewinds the portal to nothing, causing everyone to ask what the hell that was about, but Deku said it was nothing, but they all thought, he's definitely hiding something. At that moment, Manlade's words then ran through everyone's mind, telling them to reconvene at the camp, and she already gave them a order to fight before, when, everything happened. And so they said that the fight was ending, and they were helping them now. They were in the forest, so Tiger and her Tiger and Pixie Bob were already back to work. They even beat some Nomus in the way. So the boys started heading back, but a wave of flames then blocked their way, and Todoroki would meet it with the wall of ice, but it is easily melted through to show Dabi. Dabi, Mr. Compress, Twice, and Toga made themselves known, and Mr. Compress would say, "You'll be coming with us." He points to Deku, who says that's never gonna happen. "So this is what it was. Midoriya, you have to be more honest," said Todoroki. "I'll do that when we take care of them," said Deku, as the villains then riled themselves up for a fight, but then they stopped and touched their ears, confusing the students before they realized they were receiving Inko through some comms or something, and with the pout, Toga then said unfortunately they had to leave. "Bye, Izuku," she said, as everyone her and everyone are then warped away, and Deku couldn't move in time. "God damn it," said Bakugo. In the following hours, students will return back to camp and return to the forest to pick up some of those hurt and injured students, and luckily no one was taken and people had minor injuries, and what happened however was a roller coaster as the media attacked UA relentlessly, but this time they didn't lose a student, so that's better, and it's because people deserve the truth. They said the villains were after Deku. The reason being is that he posed some threat to them last time, and as the reporters heard this, one asked, "What ran through your mind, Miss Mendeley, when this was all happening?" "I admit I could have done more to keep him in check, but because of that child, I got to keep one of my best friends and my nephew. He almost died." From Midoriya's reports, the villains were trying to capture her as well, and one of them tried to kill my nephew. They start mumbling amongst the reporters, and this is when someone raised their hand for Nezu, and Nezu pointed at her, and she would stand asking, "So, you find it fit to have your students fight for you? I want you to tell me what you would do." He would answer, "What? Tell me what you would do." He stares on the reporter, who doesn't really know what to say. None of them do, as Nezu then says, "I never wish for our kids to put themselves in danger. It's circumstantial. Midoriya took it upon himself to not see anyone get hurt. I guess he didn't have enough trust in us, but it happened." As Deku watched from his home, though he wasn't laughing like he usually would, he felt a bit guilty, but he was given the chance to help, and he did. And if he was given another chance in that same moment, he would do it all over again. Even Aizawa states that he is proud of all of them. Because of Momo, they now have a location to the villain's hideout, and the heroes have already started their raid. It was night, by the way, if I didn't make that clear. Because of my students, those villains will be put to an end, once and for all. We then cut to the heroes arriving at Kamino, and as they stare down the ruins, Jiraiya would then ask, "Might be a good time to use it." He looks to All Might as Granshiro does say, "I really hope this works." All Might would then take out a band-aid that he had gotten from Deku, and he would stick it to his side. The side that had been hurt for so long, and the heroes are blinded by a slight light, with All Might then feeling invigorated, but most heroes are confused. When the light fades, however, with a nervous laugh, All Might would say, "It's gone! It's gone!" Ranterino almost gets teary-eyed as Jiraiya then says he expected nothing less from a student, and Endeavor at this moment then walks up asking, "What are you going on about?" "It's nothing, Endeavor. Young Midoriya simply gave me a bit of help. I've been dealing with an injury, and he's healed it. It's been really hard to deal with." That kid just pulls out stuff from nowhere, thought Endeavor. But the nation didn't know how much they had to thank Deku. Because of him, Kamino would change a lot. In this version of events, All for One is not only beaten, but he's beaten with so much prowess that the villain himself was confused when he found himself destroyed. Nothing but cheers filled the country and cities of Japan as they witnessed a spectacle that Ragdoll had to miss because they didn't want her to get kidnapped, so she talked on the comms and helped. All Might was back in his prime, and that day he had already given away his quirk though, so he was still about to lose it because Miro possessed it, but he still had a chance to, make a change in the world, and he only had it for a few months, but he's back in his prime. The school dorm system is still put in place, and teachers go around asking for approval of students who said, yeah, the parents say okay, and it's not that much of a hassle. As such, 1A and 1B quickly are put into the school, and they live there for the foreseeable future. And as they settle into their new home, before they knew it, night had fallen as all the boys would then gather in the common area. I can't believe we're really going to be living together, said Kaminari. Yet another way of training your sense of law. Communal living, said Ida. Sarah would then laugh, saying to not wear himself out too much, as the girls would then walk in, asking if they had finished setting up the rooms yet. Yeah? Why? asked Deku. We were just thinking maybe we could look into each other's rooms as a kind of game, said Mina. And Kaminari and Mineta show signs of worry, but also see an opportunity in this suggestion. But as he stood, Deku said to leave him out of it. I'm gonna go train, so step inside and I'll kill you. Oh, come on, Izuku, said Uraraka. Deku would then say that she could come later on her own. It's really that important to her, making her blush, and he chuckled as Bakugo then followed Deku, asking if he could join. You're not gonna say no to a fight, are you? I'm always down to kick your ass, said Deku. Hearing they were gonna fight, Todoroki followed them as well, saying to leave him out of it as well, and everyone else checked the rooms, and Mina of course already was teasing Uraraka, as were the girls, and she's as red as a tomato. Midoriya is real formidable, thought Mineta. He wishes he could have skills like that. Anyway, that night they all checked the rooms and have a competition while Bakugo, Deku, and Todoroki fought and wrecked the ground beta, and they were of course monitored by Aizawa and given permission first. But we will end this part here. And welcome to the end of another amazing part of What If Deku Had a Time Release Kekkei Genkai. I hope you have enjoyed it, and for today, before I end the video, I got a little special treat for y'all. It's not really a special treat, but I wanted to do it because I thought it was funny. I'm going to be sending out bloopers, so when this video ends, you will see me freaking out about stuff. Have fun with that. Don't forget to like and subscribe like I said in the beginning, do all of that, and the next video will be coming out tomorrow. I'm going fast with these, so you ain't got to worry. Alright, I will see y'all later. Peace. I said that in a too low tone. Nah, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna start that over. That was stupid. No, that was dumb. What the fuck, man? That was oh, my life. Oh my god. Jiraiya keeps doing so, however, I fucking glitched. As he goes with. Wow, that was a huge one. Holy fuck.
Yeah, you better listen. I'm bringing heat. You'll be a fan when I start rapping. Way I'll have your fucking head spinning. I'm known as spit vicious. Release bombs and go tick tick. Boom, you blown me that head missing. I'm a phenomenon. Stacking cheese like it's Parmesan. 8 different flows, call me Octomom. I'm moving fast like the Autobahn, and I'm independent, so I'm not your fucking starving like.